brutal fixtures. So even though it's a new iteration of the club, they'll be aware of the history. And, you know, I guess coming in, they've got experience in the last few years of playoffs, but a lot of motivation to go at least one step further. They won't be thinking about any titles yet, of course. 3 games to go, really, before any chance of holding that shield aloft. But yeah, I think they'll be very, you know, confident they can go, and they've certainly got the talent to do it.
Well, as I say in Mad Max, 2 teams enter. Well, not quite Mad Max, but that sort of thing. 2 teams enter, 1 team leaves tonight. It's knockout rugby, and it's quite an occasion. It's a full house at the Stade Jacques Chaban-Delmas. Maxime Lucu skippering the Bordeaux side. Henri Chavancy skippering the Racing side. Crowd taking to song early on. What an atmosphere. Thomas Charabin, man with the whistle. No pressure on him, of course. Maxime Lucu, probably one of those with a point to prove, having lost his spot as number 1, really. Well, it was number 2 to Dupont, should say. Anyway, let's take a look now as Mathieu Garcia gets us underway. Bordeaux in the red shirts, as you'd expect. Playing from right to left against the powder blue and white hoops of Racing. In immediately goes Nyakane. Racing will want to settle, they'll want to show their defence. They're at their weakest in the first 20 minutes. The stats show that's when they tend to be at their sleepiest in terms of scoring points and conceding points. So they'll want to keep Bordeaux pegged back in their own half if they can. Tamefuma on the drive. Lucu collects. Forwards piling out, and Coleman lending support. Little dink over the top. And immediately pressure with the bounce of the ball. It's well collected by Tatafu. Brings it back in field. Lucu through Poiré. And Bordeaux getting some good momentum early on, but hanging on too long, and the whistle and the penalty go the other way.
Terrific play by Racing to get the first turnover, really, of the game. Waiting and being patient till they saw an opportunity to get in and pounce. They weren't looking too bad there, Bordeaux. It's interesting to see that already Bougos has come up from 15 to be the playmaker. So maybe there's going to be a shared role tonight that we'll see from Garcia and Bougos. He touched the ball at least 2 or 3 times, put that little kick through that Tatafu regathered, got Bordeaux on the front foot. He was next phase. He was calling the shots. So I think there'll be a job-sharing role there tonight by the looks. He's been one of the great players this year, and what's been a stellar international backline at Bordeaux, and Bougos has been one of the ones who stood out.
Yeah, they've missed him in the last month or so as well. He and Deportier coming back after a little time out, and this is interesting. Tristan Tedder lining up a pop at goal from quite a distance. He's got a
good long-range ones last week.
148 points to his name so far this season, Tristan Tedder. And he's just made it past 150. Well, that's not a bad start.
That's a comfortable nudge from what looked like on the angle 62 metres. If the field is full length, that's impressive. There's Le Garec.
Well, Racing take an early lead, slightly against the run of play. They've been on the back foot in these early minutes, but Tedder puts them 3-0 up. Good take from Jordan Joseph, but the body's piling in, and this time Racing are penalised. Joseph not releasing. Not quite sure he was able to, really. And a chance for Bordeaux. Either to level up the scores or go for the corner.
Yes, they pushed that kick a little bit further this time. The first kickoff was really well taken, as they indicate the shot for 3 points, but the first kickoff was really well managed by Russing. Roland's got up with his lifters. They sort of set up their exit structure and got out of there pretty comfortably. Good first touch off the initial kickoff. And so Bordeaux reacting to that. They've gone a little bit deeper this time, forcing Russing to improvise a little bit as it didn't go to their main jumper. And they got in and put good pressure on. Good chase from Bordeaux.
So Maxime Lucu on kicking duties. Would normally be Jalibert. He was injured last week in the game against Oyonnax. And Lucu drifts it in, and it's 3 points all.
Well, that was beautifully judged. You could see from the flag right on the top of the right-hand upright there was a little bit of wind once it gets above the height of the stands. So, as I say, judged it to perfection, right to left.
The weather has been interesting throughout France, really. In June, it's been pretty soggy everywhere. Plenty of wind. We're on the Atlantic coast here, so it could be awkward. A little bit of a spill. From Tamefuma. A chance for Racing. No, it's come back on the Bordeaux side. My apologies. Tamefuma again. Lucu waiting for the feed. Drills it upfield into touch, and that's a good clearance. Takes him up beyond halfway, up to halfway.
Interesting here, Tatafu just looked like he lost that ball. Referee said he was comfortable that he didn't lose control. It did go back from that first touch, but a really good hit from Hambossi, who chased the kick and then made the tackle on Tamefuna, which is no mean feat. Still a good clearance from Bordeaux, so pretty evenly matched off that kickoff. What am I trying to think of? The spoils were shared a little bit.
He is, and that's nearly taken. Woki in the line out. Little dink over the top from Gibert. Ficou on the chase. Lebail on the chase. Racing looking to put something together here. Henri Chamelcy comes in, but again, it's Racing penalised in the ruck. And a good opportunity goes missing.
It'll be interesting to get a second look at that. Good work from Lamotte, who got over the ball really quickly, but I'm sceptical about a lot of those penalties, especially when there seems to be support play there. Here's the original line out straight off from Woki. A little chip kick, just a variation early, just to keep it in the minds of the defenders. Lubai comes through and gets it. To me, there are support players there, and that Bordeaux maybe shouldn't have the rights to that. But anyway, the referee made the call, and we go with it.
Have you ever reffed a game?
No,
just out of
only
interest.
from here.
Just not the easiest.
No, not when you're not looking at the rucks.
Not straight. Maxime Lamotte, little shake of the head from him.
He's had a good season, Barney, hasn't he? Really good, sort of appearing in a lot of people's teams of the top 14. Got that good steal just before, ruined it a little bit with the throw, but he has had a really good 2023-24.
His throwing, I venture to suggest, not having played as a hooker, might need a little bit of work. He's at a 75% success rate as a thrower, which is a little bit below. I think Camille Chat is somewhere near 80%, and that would be nearer the target. So it's a little bit of work to be done in the summer.
It's interesting, isn't it, that players who stand out around the field, but at the end of the day, what's most important for selectors and for coaches is the core role, the core skills. Everything else really is icing on the cake.
As a hooker now, you've got to be able to find your man.
Flexion. Lié.
Of course, many years ago, wingers used to throw in.
Halfbacks too, I think. The underarm throw as well, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Gosh, we are going back.
OK. On se laisse de l'espace. Pas de pression avant.
So first scrummage. Some big men in there. Jefferson Poirot, good to see him back again. He was back last week after a lengthy break through injury. Lamotte, Bentame Fuma, Cazo and Coleman in the second row. Venya Diaby and Tatafu in the back row for Bordeaux. Racing have Collingar, Shah, Nyakane, Woki and Rowlands, Diallo, Colisi and Joseph. And it's Labale who gets away. Makes good progress. He's got support. The ball comes back nicely. Woki moves it left. Kami Shah drives in. Labale, experienced player, 28 years old now. In his first year with Racing after 7 seasons with Po. So plenty of experience. That's a good take. Met with a thudder and a jolting tackle. But Bordeaux still on the ball with Cyril Cazot. And Luku pumps it up towards the 22. 1 foot in, 1 foot out from Tedder. Sends it back to Boros. Same place, the other end. And here we go into the aerial ping pong. We'll just go and put the kettle on, shall we? This time, actually, to be fair, going into touch.
A little waiting game to see who lost their nerve, if anyone, who made the first mistake. In the end, nobody did, and Racing quite happy to put that ball into touch. Here's how the ball popped out to Labai from that fairly messy scrum. I dare say if the ball hadn't exited, then one of the two teams, and who knows which one in these sort of lotteries these days, was going to get penalised.
Lamotte finds his man this time. Cazot managing to knock it back. It's taken in by Moefama. Luku once again going the aerial route, putting pressure on the catchers, but comfortably taken by Habosi. And Racing will get the chance to clear. Yannick Brew and Stuart Lancaster, the two coaches, the two head coaches, plenty of other coaches on board as well. Stuart Lancaster, another one who I suppose will come under some scrutiny at the end of the season, given his arrival this year. Have Racing performed up to standard during the course of the season? All will depend on when their season ends, I think, won't it? Building for next year, of course, as well. Damian Penaud, so strong. Lays it back. Was a little bit of a bobble around there. A loose hand, I think. Was that Khaleesi? Or was Kamisha, excuse me. Right.
Well, Racing might ask whether there was some sort of a knock on there. The ball bounced around like in a pinball machine, and Shah eventually was adjudicated, or determined to have played the ball while he was on the ground, which he's not allowed to do, so understand the penalty there. But Penaud, always a menace, managed to half get away from that first one. The ball was pretty messily played there. Shah subsequently giving away the penalty. Beautifully struck first ball from this man, Maxime Luku. We know he's a good kicker, but that really was impressive into the wind.
So Luku with the chance to put Bordeaux in front from the 10-metre line again. It's just swinging in at the right moment, just catching that breeze. Through it goes. Another 3 points on the board, and Union Bordeaux Begles lead Racing by 6 points to 3. Which I suppose, given what we've had in the first 12 minutes, would be about right, wouldn't it?
It's been pretty even, that's for sure.
Bordeaux perhaps just have created a little bit more in these early stages. They've certainly had more quality possession. They have the ball again. It's slow ball once again coming back. Luku taking his time. Once again fires the ball into the night sky and settles for the line out.
A fair bit of feeling one another out in this period, isn't there? It looked like there was some space before. Bordeaux, you'd normally expect to try and exploit that space, but just went back to the safety game. neither team really wants to give an advantage to the other through an unforced error.
Kamishan throws short, gets the ball back, runs into Penno. Did it go 5 metres? No, says the ref.
I suspect there was a forward pass as well there, right in that 5-metre channel. Now, this is something I think we've got to look at in rugby as well. What do you do with a free kick? There's nothing you can do except this.
Yep, lofted high, well taken by Tedder. Labale gets his hands on the ball. Kamishan waits. Takes the impact as Bastien Vergne drives into him. Oh, again, it's slow ball, a bit like down the other end. It's slow ball coming back. Labale taking his time. And like Luku, goes aerial. Not a lot of distance on that. And it's well taken by Tatafu. Luku quicker this time. Tamifuma. He's got the support from Diaby. Luku feeds out again. Garcia, the link man, Boros. Now is there a little bit of space? Coming back in field is Tamboy. Nice clean ball. The charge down though. Well, it looked as though Fiku was tackled without the ball, but through they go. And into touch in the end. And I think Fiku, you can see, has his arms out. There is going to be a stoppage now, and I think the referee might have a look at this.
Okay.
There's quite a lot to unpack from that. It looked like it suddenly turned from structure to complete anarchy. Infringements potentially and knock-ons, etc. everywhere. Nobody really quite sure what was happening, but the ball was there and somebody tried to play it, and we've come back now. So the end result, a Racing penalty. I'm not sure what for.
Well, Fiku was tackled without the ball.
And here he goes. It's a lot shorter than the last shot, Tedder, so this should be much more.
There was the charge.
Simple. Yeah, he's knocked it on before he got tackled, though. Right.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Which again,
yeah, he was going for the ball. You'd have to assume he was going to regather it. The tackle Cop made, it wasn't really blatant and deliberately off the ball, and he's knocked the ball on. But interesting anyway. Interesting that it's gone against the home team. Sometimes those sort of more contentious or 50-50 ones, particularly in France, go the way of the host.
What are you insinuating here, Andrew? You need to be careful. We'll have to discuss this with the lawyers, I think. Tristan Tedder. Landed a very long one. You reckon it was 62 metres, that first one. This, well, I mean, it seems so simple. He cleared it with plenty to spare. 6 points all. These two teams not to be separated at the moment.
Gee, the kicking has been good as we've hit the business end of the season. It really has been a crucial part. Teams know it's very important to keep knocking over those 3 points.
Away we go again. Joseph with the collect. Labale just trying to sort out the support. Khaleesi comes in, lends a hand, lends a leg to the Caterpillar. And that was hooked slightly by Labale. Didn't get as much distance on that as he would have wanted. The 14th game of the season for Labale. He started 7 of them because he has been behind Nolan Le Garrec for most of them. Good work from the Bordeaux forwards. Lamotte has the ball tucked away. And out it comes now, Moefama. Boros driving into that gap. Is there a little bit of room for Tamboy? He's beaten one man, he's outside. This is the first try. Super finish from Madosha Tamboy. And Bordeaux score the first try of the evening. What a finish. Wow. just a little bit of space, little step outside. He got through that first tackle, and the second one was almost a gimme, wasn't it? He had, because he's got that acceleration, eased away from the second tackle.
Well, it looked so simple in the end. Bordeaux finding the space out wide and Tambwe hitting it with pace and the long strides. He got around that first tackle with the assistance of a bit of a fend and then almost hurdled the last line of defence. Here they go here. They cramped up the Racing defence in close. Buros, perfect timing. Tambwe on the gas, gets rid of Tedder and then skips around.
Gibert,
scintillating to see these men in this sort of mood. It's his first chance of the night and he's made it count.
His 7th try of the season. Tambwe, who of course will be mightily relieved by what happened earlier today in the access match, Grenoble against Montpellier, which Montpellier, if you don't want to know the result, close your ears now. Montpellier just scraped in the last few minutes, and of course Tambwe is heading to Montpellier next season. So I think he'll be relieved he's not playing second division rugby. Great finish.
And saying that, isn't the Pro D2 a fantastic competition as a second division? It's far and away the best second division competition in the world. Fully televised on a Thursday and Friday night, fully professional, 16 teams. It really is. I mean, French rugby is in rude health at the moment.
Yeah, it is. It is good. And, well, it'll be interesting to see how Van get on next season. Grenoble within a whisker today. That one goes wide.
Starting to attract the stars of like Johnny May as well into the competition. Speaking of Johnny May, speaking of blistering pace, little replay of Tambwe again. There's that second skip around the tackler. Looked so simple, but plenty of work went into that, Barney.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, Johnny May is arriving next season, isn't he? I've forgotten who he's. It was announced yesterday, and I've already forgotten who he's playing for. But we've also got George North arriving, the big, powerful Welsh centre wing, British and Irish line. He'll be playing for Provence next season. At the moment, we're with Racing in possession. They're trailing by 11 points to 6. Camille Shah burrowing his way through. Close LeBale. There's Makane coming in to help out. Now, there goes the sideways kick. That's beautifully taken by Tuisova. Somehow, Bordeaux were able to drag him down. He's a difficult man to stop. The crowd reckon there was a little knock on there, a little play with the ball, but Racing keep going. Cameron Woki has it. Makes a yard, lays it back for LeBale. Once again, it's Tuisova. The feed is on. Racing with Colisi. Trying to inch their way towards this line. Oh, there's a big tackle coming in. The advantage, though, is with Racing. The tackle there on Gibert, I think, penalised. It's on Chavancy. And there's the guilty man. Used to play for Racing, then Tamefuma. Played 78 matches for them between 2015 and 2019. And he was a champion. The last time Racing won the championship in 2016, he was with them.
Here's this kick and catch from Tuisova out wide. Complaining a little bit that as he released the ball on the ground and went to get on his feet and try and play it again, he was taken out. Eventually, Racing do get the penalty, and good for them to stay in touch. They do have the assistance of a little bit of wind. You can't rely on it, but certainly for the kicking, makes it a bit of a help. And just to get that territory straight away, they're going back and looking at something, are they, Barney?
It sounds as though there was certainly a bit of discussion there with the video ref, but in fact I think they're settling for the, I think Racing quite happy with 3 points in front of the posts. Tedder converts, and that just closes the gap to 2 points once more. Bordeaux leading by 11 points to 9. You're dying to tell me something, aren't you?
No, I was doing it because you said with Johnny May, and I couldn't think of it either. I would have said until you said about George North at Provence, I would have thought Provence. He's going to Swayo Angoulême, which
That's
got
it.
12th in the Pro D2, and the ability to attract a player of that quality, I think, is fantastic for the competition.
Yeah, it is. Well, here comes Cyril Cazot. Big drive from Tamefuma. Luku. Garcia with the little feed. Luku again. Cazot doing a lot of the heavy shifting. Cyril Cazot. Well, there he is. Tambwe wants the ball again. As does that man Tamefuma. Luku may have spotted his Congolese winger. Good tackle there on Tatafu. Luku again. Oh, little intercept for Woki to take it on. Good turnover. Gibert feeding wide for Fiku. Fiku opens the burners. Now what's he got? He's got the pace. He's got Tedder with him. Delayed the pass. He's back on his feet. Clovis Lebail has it. He's getting some attention from Diaby. It's still with Rollins making the pass. Little pop from Woki. Oh, may have gone forward. Wow, what a passage of play.
Yes, he did well initially. Gael Fiku, plenty of experience, of course. Woki it was who came up with the ball in the Racing 22. And they moved it quickly out to Fiku. He'll be frustrated there because I think at the end, perhaps easy in hindsight, the better option is to feed the pace on the outside and remain in support. There's Woki with a bit of a speculator. Of course, if he hadn't regained, that's probably a yellow card. They moved it out. Here's Fiku. Now he's got his two players outside him, including Hambosi. He's tried to go back on the inside where he's got Tedder. Eventually, it was a pretty good tackle from Deporter, but if he'd gone to the outside, just fed it a little bit earlier maybe, and then stayed in support, the outcome might have been a lot different for Racing.
Well, Lebail did well here to set it up a second time, and it just went to begging. That was a good opportunity for Racing. I'm not quite sure what Fiku is complaining to Thomas Charabat about. But it is an opportunity wasted once again. 11 points to 9.
I think it's a good lesson for young players as well, as no matter what your position, unless you're a winger and you've got the pace to potentially go all the way. If you're not and you make a break or you find yourself in a lot of space and you've got support from the fast guys, try and get the ball to them early and stay in support rather than die with the ball, because it's opportunity wasted. And you know, the great adage in rugby used to be make the break and feed, particularly for a 10 or a 12. Make the break and feed, and then stay in support, stay on your feet, rather than try and make the perfect decision that ends up scoring the try. Just get it out to those fast players and remain there in support of them.
As someone who used to play in the front row, I'm still a bit struggling with the notion of make the break, actually, but I'll take your word for it.
Well, I didn't make a lot either, I tell you that.
Tatafu, he's just made the break. Luku feeds. Again, using Cazot. Well, there's Will Rowlands giving away the penalty. And the Welshman just getting slightly round the wrong side.
It's probably hard for these big guys to keep their bearings sometimes as well. You know, they're going into contact, they're concerning themselves with the bodies and the physical challenge of the breakdown. And he's ended up, as we see Tatafu come off the back of the scrum and do pretty well. But Rowlands has ended up swinging around the side a little bit. And sometimes, obviously, as you know, with a ball, you can still be onside doing that. And again, not trying to make excuses, but you can see how it happens. He's putting pressure on. We're encouraging the players to do that. And sometimes they're just going to fall foul of the rules.
Yeah, he was a little annoyed with himself there, I think. Well, Rowlands, he's had a good season. He was arrived from Newport, first season with Racing. He's made a good impact. But it's Luku with the opportunity to stick another 3 points on the board. Oh, that one's bounced just in front. So misses one.
That maybe indicates how strong that wind is up a little bit higher. There's probably, you know, 8 to 10 metres difference going into the wind versus going with it, because he's been striking it well, Luku, and he does hit it high as well. So you'd expect he'll probably, in the second half, get an extra 20 metres on that. Let's say 15, I'll be conservative.
Well, Lamotte, that's a good take. Vanya, the man doing the leaping. Lamotte, once again, has his hands on the ball. And the driving forward, the maul rumbles on. And the penalty goes to Bordeaux. Racing bringing down the maul. And once again, it looks like Rollins might be the man penalised.
He was legal getting himself into that position as he got round and through the maul, as it kind of wheeled away and offloaded its detritus on the sides. But what he ended up doing was making a tackle on the player and bringing it to ground, which of course is illegal. They looked pretty good there for a while, Bordeaux, keeping control of the ball. There's Rollins going into it, and saying that he made the tackle, or he did waited to bring it down.
Once again, it looks as though Bordeaux going for the points, which is, we see during the regular season. I'm not going to say I guarantee you they would go for touch at this point, but there was certainly, we saw a lot more chance in the arms, but much more cagey this evening in this knockout match. 3 points on the board, and maybe that's why. 14 points to 9, the gap is at 5.
Yeah, I think maybe they feel it's risk management and not letting Racing get into the game. I think again it's the wind that Bordeaux's thinking, right, we'll get through this, we'll keep chipping away at points. Second half, we'll get down the end, we'll make Racing try to play out of their own territory, and then the opportunities will come for us.
Well, Bordeaux have already shown they've got the pace, they've got the ability to skin the Racing defence. With that try from Tambwe. And another penalty against Racing.
Yeah, Hambossi's been the main guy chasing the kickoff. Fast, of course, and incredibly strong. And maybe just doing a little bit too much to compete at the ruck after making the tackle.
Oh, that is a good touch find-up. And Bordeaux will have the chance to attack again. From inside the Racing half. It is cagey. Racing. Oh, it's Bordeaux goes short this time. Lamotte gets it straight back. Luku on the feed. He's done that so often in this first half. Kazo. As has Tamefuma. The ball is there, back it comes, little dink over the top, the chase is on, knocked back, now Gibert has it, runs straight into Luku. Fiku again. It's gone nowhere, comes straight back to Racing. This is a tough one. Tedder loses it in the tackle, it goes backwards. Gibert is rolled over by Garcia. Clovis Labaille looking for support. The touchline maybe their friend. No, playing it out from the ruck. Labaille again with another chance. And this time he does go for the touch.
Quite a bit of attention going on there. Is it Ben Tamefuna, I think, who's gone down? No. Yes. Yeah. Fairly unmistakable, I would have thought. He's carried 2 or 3 guys with him. He struggled to get that ball out. He's got Camille Sharp right on him there, and may have just got bent over a little bit. Either a shoulder or...
Is that a knee or...
He's still got his arm up there, and I think he's hyperextended that shoulder.
Yeah.
As I think it was Hambossi was still holding on to it, and he's had the full weight of himself plus 3 or 4 other players go down on it. And that's not great for a front rower. As you'll know, Barney, far better than I will, but anything around that neck and shoulder area that's a big blow potentially for Bordeaux.
That is Lexo Kaulashvili, the Georgian prop, will replace him. But yeah, bad news for Ben Tamifuna.
That's really no good. You can't say that it was deliberate from Racing, but at the same time, that's just seems so unfair on a player like Tamifuna.
Oh, that's well collected by Gibert. He had to act quickly then. It wasn't the perfect pass for him. Well, that one could run. No, it's not going to run all the way. Tambwe, the try scorer, waits for Jordan Joseph to run all the way up before touching down.
Great result.
Yeah.
Really good result from Racing. Just clearing that ball. Lubai had a bit of trouble to do that, but now prime attacking opportunity, really. They're bringing it to midfield and set and go both ways.
Gibert lines it up for Jordan Joseph. Clovis Lebail. 8 minutes to go before half-time. We haven't really seen Racing baring their teeth in attacking ways. Little drive down into the corner. Once again, forcing Bordeaux onto the back foot. Finding touch once more. But Racing just getting a little bit of momentum here. They've got a good line out going. Mainly through Cameron Woki. This could be a good attacking position for them.
Yeah, they're feeling, they look like they're feeling quite comfortable, don't they, Racing? I mean, they're down, they've got the assistance of a wind. It doesn't always translate to points, because often playing against the wind, you really knuckle down and focus a lot more on the handling, because you've got to move the ball rather than just rely on the kicking, and often teams can play a lot better into the wind. But they certainly are looking a bit more comfortable. And I think that the loss of Tamifuna is crucial for Bordeaux. That combined with Jalibert at the moment, I think, potentially Racing growing in confidence through this game.
Well, as I said at the start, they are at their least potent in the first 20 minutes, first 40 minutes of matches. They get stronger as games go on. That's what the stats indicate. That's only stats, of course. Each game is different. Racing have the advantage. Clovis Lebail runs into the ref. Finds a little gap, does he? Jordan Joseph has it, pops it back out the back of the hand. Woki to Gibert. They've gone back about 10 metres now. Well, that looks a little bit flat, would be kind, but away goes Racing. This is going to be a try for them, and that came, that's Rambosi who goes over, but that really came from nothing, and I wouldn't be surprised if they go back and have a look at that pass.
I think they will. I think there are plenty of assistant referees sitting in the crowd in Bordeaux here that will encourage that. I mean, what was for sure was Bordeaux didn't really expect Hambosi to have the audacity to have a go at that from where he did, and he just absolutely took off. It was a couple of years ago that he burst onto the scene in Super Rugby, and he was absolutely phenomenal from strength and speed perspective. Here's the pass they'll look at. He's on the 10-metre line. It's marginal. I think it probably has gone forward out of the hands, but gee, Hambosi took off.
He's a powerful lad, isn't he?
Not many players would get over from that position.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, there was an advantage being played for Racing at that point, I think. So they may get a second bite at this, but
you won't get many players shrugging off Pinot like Hambosi did just there.
Patrick Delac is the video ref, and I think now they are. I think a little word in the shell light here. Thomas Charabat wants to just clear up that pass we've been talking about.
What's not going to help Gibert is the fact that he didn't have any forward momentum. He's static, so there's no momentum, and you've got to say that ball went marginally forward. It's a shame for Hambossi. He's behind the 10 metre. He's got no forward momentum, and the ball ends up being caught in front of it.
It's a no-brainer for me, but
Par rapport à la ligne, il y a vraiment. Regarde les pieds. Regarde la ligne où il est. Il ne bouge pas, il attend le ballon. Pour moi, il n'y a rien qui arrive. Si tu me dis que ça part à l'avant, ça part à l'avant.
Là, pour moi, le ballon. Attendez, je travaille. Là, tu vois, le ballon, pour moi, il part.
I'm not quite sure why there is so much discussion on this.
Well,
it's
they
an
talk
open
about back
shut
out of the
case.
hands, of course, but that's only applicable when you've got some forward momentum. There was nothing there.
It was a good yard.
Il n'y a rien de clair évident, franchement.
There's nothing evident, is what they're saying. He's even moving backwards. So he's certainly not going forwards. The ball's come forward out of the hands.
Andrew, if this is awarded, I think I'm going to have to hang up my microphone because I simply don't understand that.
Well, they've got the reputation of some of the best educational schools, best education system in the world for maths and physics and those sort of things. How can they get this?
I think, yep, sanity prevails.
The referee said for me it wasn't a forward pass.
Yep. Look, we have a lot of people watching around the world. Guys, ladies, have a look at that. Make your own minds up.
We have what we have, Barney, isn't it? And penalty Racing's going to come back to 14-12, which I think, despite playing with the wind, I think they would be satisfied, if not realising there's work ahead of them, if they go into half-time like this.
Tedder strikes it cleanly. Through it goes. It is indeed 14 points to 12. So, well, I mean, it was the right result in the end. I mean, we're happy. It was a lovely try from Hambossi. It just, if it hadn't been for that non-evident forward pass. A few minutes to go before half-time. Nothing in this, just 2 points. 14 points to 12. Bordeaux lead against Racing 92. Racing growing a little bit in confidence. Clovis Labelle waiting. Just using up a little bit of time there before the break. Tatafu. Roman Bourras. Jefferson Poirot trying to get his hands in, but through is that Kamisha.
Yep.
Went piling through the middle of that lot.
I think he's infringed about three different ways there, Kamisha, and I think he's lucky because they got warned before Racing about the penalties they were giving away. They'd given away 3 or 4 within space a short period of time. But there's been that break in between. They've knocked over 3 points themselves. And so maybe they've reset that. But Shah, he's come in from the side. He's not really allowed to have a go at the ball. They've got a player lying on the ball as well. And then he's ended up off his feet. Apart from that, well played.
But it wasn't a forward pass. Maxime Lamotte. Beautifully taken. Bordeaux have just a couple of minutes in this half. They would love a second try now. My Farmer, steps inside nicely, looking for a gap, takes a couple of tacklers with him, lays the ball back well. Luku digs it out. In goes Poirot. Luku again, looking for it. Tatafu. Good work from the Japan number 8. And the drop goal attempt goes astray. A penalty has been awarded. You were awarding that about 3 minutes ago, I think.
Yeah, that won't worry Bordeaux at all, playing into the wind, that a bit more time gets soaked up and they still come back and get the 3 points. Another penalty against Racing though, and it fairly so. I mean, talking to Henri Chavancy there, that's another warning.
Yeah, just telling him to go and talk to his team, wasn't he?
Well, Camille Shah's been pushing it, and you want your players to push to the limit, but he's been right probably over the limit the last couple of breakdowns. Even that last one where a ruck had formed, he was in competition with an opposition player above the ball, and he still started trying to grapple at the ball with his hands. A ruck, you can't do that, and a departure from their previous approach, Bordeaux, as they look for the touchline. They must have got some encouragement from that last driving maul off the line out, where they looked pretty efficient there, Barney. They got the ball pretty quickly away from the jumper and well set.
It's the art of war as well, isn't it? What does the opposition least want you to do? Go for the corner with half-time beckoning. Go for the maul. They've got the numbers. Penaud at the back, they're lending his weight. They're driving forward. This is good work by Bordeaux. Just within a couple of metres of the line now. They've got another penalty.
Uh-oh.
And this is problem time. Reaching into his pocket. And that is Cameron Woki.
Well,
being singled out as the villain.
They've only got themselves to blame here, Racing. And you know what? There are intelligent penalties to give away, and there are non-intelligent penalties. And I would say the Racing players, 2 or 3 of them there, right in front of the referee, absolutely went over the limit, round the side, over the top, not keeping their weight on their feet, trying to handle the ball when they can't in a ruck. The card's inevitable.
Turning the screw. Yannick Brou looking on as they go once again for the corner. They got the man advantage. It's well taken by Adam Coleman. The drive is on once more. And over they go. There is the try. It was coming. And that is a second try for Bordeaux. And it's too early to say it's a game breaker, but that is a really important score right on half-time. Takes them 7 points clear and could put them another 2 points clear. And it's that man you were talking about earlier, Maxime Lamotte, with his 5th try of the season. He may not be able to throw straight, but he can certainly finish.
Well, he threw straight on this occasion, which was important. First things first, and it was one-way traffic from Bordeaux. Like you said, Barney, one man down for Racing, which meant that Bordeaux could get that initial forward movement without having to really set themselves and look for that second shunt. So they got on the front foot. It stressed out the Racing defence. They were playing catch-up right from there, and the addition of Penaud only served to accelerate that. They kept the control at the back. Lamotte, the most important guy, gets the ball at the back, away from the danger of the opposition, and at that point they were in control, and the try was an inevitability, the way they did that maul.
And this does change the complexion of the match as we go towards half-time. Racing conceding right on the whistle. They're going to start the second half, a man down, and it's a man of significance as well. Cameron Woki, their main line-out jumper and stealer of the ball. He's had a remarkable. He's the top stealer, I think, in the top 14. Luku on target again. 21 points to 12 as the half-time whistle goes. Those flags for Bordeaux waved by happy supporters. Halfway there.
Il va tout falloir ce soir. C'est vraiment un match de phase finale. Qu'est-ce qui va faire la différence selon vous?
What's the difference between sides?
C'est un bras de fer, comme tu le dis. Ce qui va faire la différence, comme dans tous les matchs de phase finale, c'est les détails, la discipline.
It's the details, as in every match in these playoffs.
Bien que ça reste dans ce sens-là et que ça bascule pas dans l'inverse. Après voilà, il y a une grosse équipe en
We've got
face.
to keep it going as we turn around.
Sur les mêmes
With
intentions
the win,
que la fin de
we've
première
got to
mi-temps.
have the same intentions as we have in the first half.
La bonne discipline, ça.
Keep our discipline.
Merci pour votre lucidité et analyse. Antoine Gibert est avec nous. Comment vous expliquez ces ces petites fautes qui vous gâchent un peu la première période?
Non, je pense qu'on est dans le match. Ce qui est vraiment dommage, c'est la discipline. Je pense que
We're in the match.
il y a deux belles équipes ce
Discipline
soir,
is
sauf que
being
ce
a
qui fait la
problem.
différence pour l'instant, c'est la discipline. On n'arrive pas à dès qu'on essaie de sortir de notre camp, il y a une autre petite faute, puis il nous accule.
We're just
donc
making
voilà,
little
donc je pense que
faults.
dans le
We're
match, faut qu'on
accumulating
fasse une
them.
belle entame de deuxième
It's
mi-temps pour
counting
pouvoir y
against
croire.
us.
Merci,
We've got
merci
to
Antoine.
change that in the
21-12, c'est le
second
score
half
à
if we're
speed.
going to win this
Vous avez
match.
pas mal de choses à raconter.
I don't know if I picked up everything there from the interviews. Is there anything else I missed out there, Andrew?
No, they're actually pretty lucid though, weren't they? And it's a simple game after all, Barney, as you know, so they know what they both have to work on.
It is. That's how it stands. 21 points to 12. Racing those 2 tries. Lovely try from Tamboué in first half for Bordeaux Begles. Racing with a 6-2 split. Do you expect? Well, obviously they need to get back up to 15 before they really throw on all the big guns. But do you think that'll make a difference?
Well, I think they've got to use their 6 forwards wisely, and I don't think pummeling through the middle is getting a lot of traction for them. Louis Biret looks like he's made his entry already for Bordeaux. Bordeaux's just got the luxury of so much talent when they do get the ball that they can threaten from everywhere, which is something that Racing has not been doing. Yes, they've got 6, and that's who he's on for, Damien Pernot. You'd only imagine that there's something not quite right with the racehorse's body. But I think Racing, if they can use their forwards a bit smarter, you want to see Woki probably running into those outside channels a little bit more than running into the big traffic closer in. So get those forwards, get the 6 forwards, get them running a bit wider, I think.
Well, Antoine Gibert gets us rolling in the second half. The ball comes back for Will Rowlands on the Racing side. A chance immediately for the Parisians to get their hands on the ball from the kickoff. Travagnacani driving in. Clovis Labelle just waiting there. Little dink over the top. Well, it's an awkward bounce. Gibert tackles Luku without the ball, but Roman Burros takes it on and uses that wind to send the ball down into the 22. Tedder. Well, he gets a pretty decent distance on his as well, but Burros again going for distance, pushing the ball back into the Racing 22. Exactly as you were telling us at half-time, Andrew. Just pushing Racing back onto the defence. Tedder does well. He's got a bit of distance.
Tedder certainly did. That one there, actually, Humbossi did pretty well. He's not what you'd probably call a recognised kicker. Of course, these guys work on their skills constantly, so they can all, you know, from front row through to fullback, they can all kick, but you wouldn't have expected them to win a kicking battle using the likes of Humbossi, but he's managed to make a good fist of it.
No, and my apologies. It was just I was used to seeing Tedder doing it, so my apologies for that laziness on my part. Luku collects, no laziness from him as he drills the ball upfield again. Once again, we're seeing it. I think it was Gibert that time. Found the touch.
I couldn't have told you, but I think who it was at the time, but I think the approach was clear from Bordeaux. Just get it down there and wait for a mistake. You know, one kick out of 7 or 8 might just skew off the side of the boot, and suddenly you've got a line out 30 metres out from the line.
Juan Imhoff in the crowd for Racing, leaving the club at the end of the year. He's been there about 100 years, hasn't he?
Since the time of Dan Carter.
Tremendous servant for Racing. Luku once again takes the aerial route. That one was really hanging. It was well taken by Humbossi. Lays the ball back well. Good work from the Fijian. Tedder feeding Fiku. Fiku thinks he sees a gap, keeps the ball moving. Back to Chavancy, it's untidy. Kamisha tries to tidy up. This was gone for an infringement for offside. So Racing, as you mentioned in the first half, sometimes playing into the wind can focus the mind, and they've got to keep it tight now. They've got to use the ball wisely.
Well, I think even then you saw that there's more space for them going a little bit wider, and if they can get some of their forward runners getting out wider around the likes of Fiku, they can keep the ball alive. Fiku's strong in the tackle, keep the continuity, and I think they can cause a lot more threat, as we see Jalibert in the stands, but they can threaten that Bordeaux defence a lot more out wider because they're just getting no purchase in close.
He's been busy, Mathieu Jalibert. I see he's opened a new tapas restaurant in Bordeaux this week. So there you go. Apparently he's got a few things going on there.
Modern fly half.
There you go.
Former fly halves just content themselves with sitting and eating in them.
Room for both, Andrew. Room for both. Kamisha. Has Will Rowlands to aim for. No Woki. It's untidy ball, flapped back from Rowlands, but it's Hassan Collingar who does well to collect and tidy up, lay the ball back for Les Begles. Up he goes again. Oh, beautifully taken by Maxime Lucu. He had a little bit of a mid-season dip, Lucu, but he's really picked up his game in this final close of season. In the last few games, Bordeaux have been very strong, leading from the front. Skipper today, of course. And the designated goal kicker with Jalibert absent. And once again, it's Lucu going up. The referee laying play on. Oh, big drive in from Tavita Tatafu. And there was an offside. Is that Fika offside? No.
Diallo, who just got a little bit too eager. I mean, it looked like he did genuinely think the ball was out of that ruck.
He backed up pretty quickly as well, didn't he?
Look, the referee said no, and he did back up, and the referee's asserting there that Diallo being there still affected the movement of Bordeaux. I'm not sure that was the case.
Il est hors jeu. J'estime que ça a eu une incidence sur le jeu. On peut ne pas être d'accord sur la. J'ai pas fini. Si vous voulez.
He's giving a little lecture to Henri Chavancy.
C'est toujours contre nous. Tous les rucks c'est contre nous.
Accept the referee's decision, basically, is what he's saying.
Faire le Racing, d'accord. Donc vous descendez de ce truc-là, d'accord. Je ne veux pas entendre ça, ok. Voilà.
It's clearly frustrated Henri Chavancy, but he's done not badly at the end there. Have maybe a little bit of humour and a wry grin. He's got a lovely manner. He's a very tough, committed guy. That's where Diallo thought the ball was out, and then he backed off, and I'm not convinced he was instrumental in that mistake being made.
Well, it was also perhaps it came off the knee, but it was also rebounded back towards him, wasn't it? It was a little bit unfortunate, but there you go. 3 points it is for Bordeaux. 24 points to 12, they lead.
That's a great take from Lucu to get the ball back just before he was ingested by Trevor Nyakane.
Good word.
I was going to say digested, but he's still there walking around, body intact, so maybe he didn't get that far.
And Woki waiting to come on again. He's got a little bit of a wait still. Ooh, up in the air. This could be trouble again. Pierre Bocheton has come on. It's kicking off a little bit. That frustration boiling over. Well, the crowd getting excited. They came from that challenge. It would be interesting to see that one again. But there is a possibility. Well, Adam Coleman at the heart of it.
Well, he's got the reach, Coleman. I'm quite sure he's perhaps got the killer instinct of some of these other potential pugilists. Not that I can comment. Either, I'll stay out of that.
Well, this was the challenge.
I think that
Hambosi's going for the ball.
Yep, and they had one other who ended up turning his back, Racing, as well. I think they've judged that based on the result, not the actual action. It's looked bad to me like contest was...
Le joueur, il est pris, il y a juste une simple pénalité. Je veux pas que des joueurs en rajoutent comme ça sert à
Well,
rien.
he's giving the penalty. He says it's just a penalty,
Et c'est vos joueurs après qui viennent dans
and
le
that's
deuxième
quite
quart, ouais.
sensible. Because certainly the second man in, I think it was Diallo, did take him out. Absolutely no doubt about that.
Yep, that's probably not a bad result in the end. I don't think it was worth the card because I don't think the intent was there, and I think there was a legitimate or genuine challenge for the ball, in my view. My view doesn't matter. It's at the end of the day, there's one guy out there with a whistle, and it's his view that matters. But
Well, he's made that quite clear, Mr. Sharabout. Cameron Woki still waiting. And Racing, well, they'll be, at the moment, it's just 3 points they've shipped since at the start of the second half without him, but they're coming again, Bordeaux Begles. This is a big drive from them. Coleman is in there. He's got Kalashvili in there as well, just being tossed out of the back. It's still with Lamotte. Right up on the 22 now. That was terrific work from the forwards. Coleman again, he's getting well stuck in now, the Aussie. Or should we call him a Tongan? Played for both. Lovely chip over the top, the chase is on. Oh, there's Bielbiari not able to collect the bobbling ball. Back it comes on the Racing side. That was a little bit of an escape for the Parisians. Bielbiari so quick onto it. Oh dear, oh, it's messy. And it's Tuisova dragged down in his own in-goal area, and that is a result for Bordeaux Begles. Terrific piece of work.
a good tackle from Nicolas Duporter. Certainly seems to have found an extra gear since he lost that long hair. The big mud flap at the back. Little kick through here. And so unlucky for Bielbiere. He got that first bounce, was perfect for him. The second, not so much. A knock on. Would have thought they'd go back for the advantage. There was no advantage here. Tuisova, of course, he's going to think 110 metres. Why wouldn't he back himself to have a go? Full of power, full of speed.
That was a great covering tackle, though. Took him out of it very quickly, snuffed out that possibility. Cameron Woki returns to the field. It's 15 against 15 for the next 31 and a little bit minutes. Well, we think.
At this stage. And what that does is push Vinaya Hambosi back out to the wing because he's been deputising around the rucks as a forward to cover for Woki, giving a pretty good account of himself too, to be fair.
That was Dmitry Zarzewski on the touchline, looking a little bit pained, working out what his forwards are up to. They need a good scrummage now, good clean ball. And that is a good scrummage. They've won the penalty there.
That's the best result. That's absolutely what they were playing for there, although we saw Joseph taking a look to see where his opportunities might have been off the back, but a big concerted shove from the Racing pack. And that's, like I say, the perfect result. Clear it now, another 30-odd metres, set their platform off the line out, and suddenly put pressure on from probably a box kick, which is now going to be into the Bordeaux half rather than right back deep in their own territory.
Forwards are funny creatures as well. They will take that as a win, and they will, and Bordeaux, the forwards, will also have felt that. Being shunted back by that pack, and it's when you look at it on paper, that Racing pack is really very strong. But haven't asserted themselves just yet until this moment. Going long, nicely taken by Rowlands. Now looking to spread it. Looks like Tustin Tedder has come up to dink that forward. Khaleesi. Gibert. Is there room out there? Kami Shah feeds Woki. Was it forward? I think the referee now calling it forward. No, so that was more debatable than the other one. But
yes, I didn't say it was borderline, that's for sure. off a pretty poor kick. They were lucky to retain the possession there at Racing because it wasn't a great kick. But you saw there the glimpses of them trying to get that ball wide. As the cavalry, I mean, the whole front row's being replaced, but just seeing Waki run into that wide channel there was space and opportunity, and it won't have been lost on Racing if they can recreate that.
Just run you through those. You got Gogichashvili at loose head. Narisia, Benlami Narisia is at hooker, and Sedate Gomez Sa is on at tight head. So Trada Nyakane, excuse me, making his way off. With the rolling subs, of course, you don't want to say that's the last we've seen of him today, because he may well be putting his feet up for 10 minutes and then coming back for the last 15 or so. We will see, but Trada Nyakane leaving the club to go back to South Africa for the Sharks at the end of the season. Luku on the break, BLBRE, danger alert for Racing. BLBRE is held up, the ball scooped back, a little bit untidily. Vanya couldn't get his hands on it, and it's come back for Racing. Khaleesi feeds. Little dink into no man's land. Who's going to collect that? Oh, nicely done. Buros flips it back. Moefama has it. Fiku brings him down. Luku chips over the top. The chase is onto the corner. Oh, this is going to be a try for Roman Buros. And that could be that. It was beautifully worked. It was pace. It was movement. It was shifting the defenders around. Luku orchestrating it. Little testing dinks over the top. And in the end, the thing that really got Racing, it was the bounce of the ball.
Yes, it was. And if someone deserves that try, it's certainly Romain Buros. Good from the Bordeaux scrum to hold on to it. Bielbire had a bit of a chance here out on the far wing, but I think it was Buros who called the kick from Luku. The lottery of the bounce of the ball went in his favour, and like I say, really deserves it. He took that ball forward before, pretty thankless task, charging onto that and into the defensive line. He got the go forward and he remained in play, Buros. He remained aware, communicating to his halfback, that man there, Maxime Luku, and he gets the benefits.
29 points to 12, the gap now 17. Is that the game changer? Is that the one that takes Bordeaux into the semi-finals?
Well, they won't be stopping, I don't think. However, I just think now playing with a little bit of comfort and making sure that Racing has to chase the game, I think it's... Yeah, if it's not vertical cliff, it's certainly much more uphill.
Oh, just squeezed it inside the post. Everything is going Bordeaux's way at the moment. Maxime Luku on target again. Bordeaux Begles leading Racing by 31 points to 12. Stade Francais are the opponents in the semi-final for tonight's winner, and they will be watching this with great interest. This is a terrific performance from Bordeaux. 3 tries to none at the moment. And as you say, Andrew, it looks as though they've got more in the tank. Racing need a rapid response. Making changes aplenty in the forwards, but they need to get their hands on the ball, and they need to use, as you've mentioned, use the runners they've got. Again, that looked a little bit square, but never mind. Ref lets that one go. Oh, there's a little knock on. That one is going to count.
I think he's going to come back to the first knock on, which was Bielbire competing for the ball in the air. So they didn't quite waste that. Racing, more changes. Poirot looks like he's coming off.
Well, they may reckon that Poirot has done his shift because he's only played 1 game since March. So it may be a case of saying, well, you know what, 55 minutes. We'll get Hugo Boniface on, who is quite a frequent starter. He started 14 games this season, Boniface. Played in 20, so he's not a bad replacement for Poirot.
He's match hardened, isn't he? And up against, you know, the Bordeaux front row, sorry, the Racing front row, they may feel they can put a little bit more pressure on, particularly in this sector of the game, as they come down to the last quarter of the match.
Yeah.
Already lost big Ben Tamifuna, but probably nothing more demoralising than the bench coming off and putting even more acid on the scrum when they do.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things with front rows. It's you have your battles going on. If you're suddenly faced with fresh legs after 55 minutes, then that can be demoralising. And we saw that Bordeaux got shunted not so long ago. Makes sense to use your finishers, as they are now called. Get the fresh legs on.
Flexion. Ligue.
There is the rapid response unit. Racing win the penalty. This is their 12th top 14 playoff. They are the most consistent team in France since the playoff system was introduced in 2009-10. They've been 12 times they've made it. The next best team, Castres, with 8, which is surprising. This is in the playoffs. Perhaps that means that Toulouse have gone straight to the semi-finals.
It's hard to consider any
Stats
statistics
don't tell you
top
everything
14 without mentioning Toulouse, isn't it? They're always sitting there, literally the elephant in the room.
Yep. Yep. Well, now, is this the moment? Mauricia is the new thrower. No comment. Bordeaux controlling this game at the moment. And Luku with that long hoof upfield again, setting Racing back on their heels. They've got to start all over again. Tedder takes the ball into the contact. LaBelle feeds. Oh, almost an intercept. And now is this an opportunity for Tuisova? No, he's taken down well. There's been some good, strong tackling from Bordeaux on Tuisova. They know what a threat he is. I think that was Tatafu who got him then. Fiku. Is there space for Fiku? Oh, he just drifts through that little gap in the midfield. He is brought down, but just an indication. Such an easy running style, Fiku. Racing again, going long, going wide. Tuisova batters his way into a crowd of burgundy shirts. I shouldn't call them burgundy shirts, should I? Bordeaux shirts. They'd be upset with me about confusing their wines and their colours. Hambosi held up, and a slightly hurried kick. Burros takes the mark, and the pressure is off for the moment.
Well, they are trying pretty desperately to get the ball out to the wide channels, and they haven't been doing it efficiently, Racing, but you can still see that there is opportunity there. And Fiku, I just think he's got a tendency, and he's a fantastic player, fantastic international player. When he does make a break, his first tendency seems to be to go back inside rather than look for a support on the outside.
Yeah, that's twice he's done that, isn't it?
Stop!
In this evening, and he's got the power outside, he's got the pace outside. Racing start all over again. Again, using the boot. And Matteo Garcia. We haven't really mentioned much of Garcia today. He's just been quietly getting on with it, hasn't he?
Yes, and it hasn't really been conspicuous, the absence of Jalibert, has it? They haven't played quite as much as we'd normally expect them to, Bordeaux, but that's been the context. That's been the situation they've found themselves in. They've been very, very clinical, is what I would call it. Not flamboyant, which we know they can do. As we see the try here from Lamotte. Puno got involved. It was great to see Garcia. You just mentioned him. Like a good 10, gets in there just slightly too late, but to pretend that he's been involved in that line-out maul. Fantastic, as Lamotte wanders off.
Andrew Mertens spilling the secrets of how to play 10.
There's a timing to it. Just want to be there in all the photos.
Another change. Incidentally, I got a message from somebody you may know from South Africa this week. Did you know a journalist called Louis de Villiers?
Yes, absolutely.
Louis, I mentioned to Louis that I was going to be parked alongside you this evening, and he growled, as he usually does, and says you need to go and have a Spook and Diesel.
Long, warm
Sends
relationship, New Zealand,
sends
South
his very
Africa,
best,
in
yeah.
all aspects of rugby. Looks pretty heated at times on the field, but plenty of respect between the two nations. Only problem journalists used to have really with me is they'd probably talk too much, take them 2 hours where they'd normally expect an interview in 15 minutes.
Actually, Louis, I should say Louis is one of the most respected, or was one of the most respected rugby writers in South Africa for a long, long period. Probably got his feet up in Cape Town at the moment watching this game. And if you are Louis, good evening to you. He did actually, and I'm going to do this quickly, he did pay you quite a compliment, I think, because he said, everyone loved watching Carlos Spencer play, but the All Blacks were a better team with Andrew Mertens and Dan Carter. So there you go.
Well, I tell you,
That's
if I can get in the same sentence as Carter, then I'm always happy.
Louis, if you're listening, all the best. Right, let's get back to this. Sorry. I shouldn't go off on these diversions.
You know what? URC final next week being played in South Africa, of course, in Pretoria. So great to see as well. URC on the road.
Absolutely. So we've got Max Spring at scrum half now, moving the ball wide once again. Christian Wade immediately making an impression, looking to get Racing moving. In goes Tui Sova once more. He had support from Woki. Was that a little knock forward?
Il le récupère et après il le repère dans un deuxième temps.
As he just tried to roll it round the back, and I think it initially came off a Bordeaux player's back, the defender's back, but and try to sort of bobble that, as it was a pretty good run from Wade. He made some good ground out there with plenty of bodies around. Got the initial forward momentum. Like I say, they've been desperate to get the ball wide there. Eventually there was a knock-on from Racing. Woki might have even got his hands on it, but again, they've got the idea right. Execution, not quite yet, and maybe it's just because it's a little bit new for them. It's not what they've been playing throughout this match. It's probably not something we've seen with any great fluidity over the last couple of months with Racing, and suddenly trying to play a little bit more expansive rugby is proving to be a challenge. Ben Tapuai on for Bordeaux.
Tapuai, so many changes going on. It's often hard to keep up with top 14 these days. So Paul Abadi is on for Garcia, so we've got two scrum halves on at the moment. Maxime Luku. This is French rugby.
Last thing you need is another halfback on the field, isn't it?
This is French rugby. They are so interchangeable, 9 and 10. In so many players can play either. A big squeeze on, and it's picked up by Tatafu, looking to get Bordeaux moving again once more. There's still 20 minutes to play, but you do think that another try from Bordeaux Begles really would finish this game off. Time ticking away for Racing. Bielbiari quickly on it. Max Spring feeding it back once again. Wade has a little bit of space. He's going at Tambwe. He's taken down, but does well, Wade. Lays it back. It's a decent, quick ball. Once again, fed back. Gomez.
Stop.
Ball drilled upfield. Back in the pocket, Luku. He's been everywhere tonight. On the charge, on the chase. Tedder takes it, gets Luku for his services. Spring digs it out. Gomez. One of those players on the move at the end of the season. Gomez heading off to Lyon. Racing just trying to work these gaps. Trying to find a way through this Bordeaux defence, which looks very tight at the moment. Fiku Tuisova flies into the challenge there. Back it comes once more. Maxime Baudon taking the ball in that time. Fiku feeds. Gomez held up by Gendre Marais, veteran South African. Well, Racing just nudging and poking and probing a bit more than they have been. Oh dear. Well, there's that going. A little knock on from Marais. Fiku brings the ball back inside. Well, it's good phase work this from Racing, keeping the ball alive, but they're not making a huge amount of progress. The cross kick, interesting. Not terribly comfortably dealt with by Maxime Baudon. It wasn't a terribly good cross kick.
No, it's a fairly ignominious finish to a muddling period of play. They got through their phases. They probed a little bit, never really with enough accuracy and cohesion and support play to really put a lot of strain on the Bordeaux line. And Bordeaux just were biding their time and eventually found an opportunity where they had more numbers in the defensive line. At that point, they came up a lot quicker, put the pressure on, and Racing, after that, was really trying to play catch-up.
Yeah, it looked a little bit as though there was no real arrowhead or no direction in the attack. It was a little bit sevens rugby. I shouldn't be rude about sevens rugby. It wasn't sevens rugby at all. It was simply just passing the ball, keeping the ball alive, almost like touch rugby. Just let's play the ball, keep it up.
Yeah, nobody really got a good line on where the ball was headed. It was just getting moved around. And you've got to give ups to the Bordeaux defence for doing that, for not giving the opportunities really.
Laterade is the replacement hooker for Bordeaux. Hits his man, and the maul rolls forward. This is good work again from the Bordeaux Begles forwards. And moving the ball quickly. Tamboué, oh, he's found a little gap. He's still going. Tamboué, he's taken down, but what an acceleration from Tamboué. Luku dragged to the ground. Crowd didn't like the way he was handled there, but they won't like the fact that it's come back on the blue side either. Kalisu feeding, Gibert has it. Fiku looks for a gap almost, and then opts for the kick into space, which is not the worst option. A little bit of work for Roman Burros, does well. Oh, feeds nicely. Oh, this is a nice counter-attack. Tapoué was getting down the touchline. And back it comes for Racing once again. Where to go this time? Oh, straight through the middle, Tristan Tedder reckons. Oh, and he's still going, Tristan Tedder. Well, now this is interesting. Has he got the support? He has. It's a prop forward. Still they're going. And this is going to be a try. It's Max Spring going over for the try. And finally, Racing have got their act into gear. There's a big... I don't think the crowd are happy because it looked as though there was a man down. But the referee didn't call them up. Max Spring going over for his second try of the season. And it was that man, Tristan Tedder, who made the break.
Well, it looked like the worst option originally from Tristan Tedder, and his run seemed fairly innocuous. This was the turnover where they got numbers into the counter-ruck. Here's Tedder going up the middle where I thought the space was back over from whence he had come, and suddenly all the space was up the middle. The support play from Racing and Spring with the fresh legs. Seemingly out of nowhere, Racing scored. They won't care whether it's out of nowhere or well constructed. It's 5 points, and it's 5 points they desperately needed, which are now going to be reviewed.
Interesting. I mean, I didn't notice anything particularly in there that merited it, but
Ici à l'entrée des 22 mètres.
something
Sur la réception du jeu au pied.
on the
Quand les joueurs
22.
convergent, peut-être un joueur qui prit son ballon.
Was there a blocking?
Ok,
I
on
think
Nous
vérifie.
sur le terrain, c'est accidentel.
Oui,
Il converge et on ne voit pas de faute claire.
ok. Je
On
vois
va
avec la,
vérifier s'il y a une claire faute.
je vois avec la réalisation.
well, the referee says he didn't see a clear fault. He thinks there was an accidental block or something.
That's a player taken without the ball, it seemed like.
Well, I don't think Tambwe was actually involved in the play, was he, at the time? It was Maxime Baudon who came in.
Ça n'a aucune incidence.
Je suis d'accord, il voit le ballon
isn't
et au
that
dernier
part of
moment, le
rugby?
ballon lui échappe et il
Yes, I
percute
think.
le joueur accidentel.
Ouais, ils vont au
Well,
ballon.
also you could say that Tambwe was crossing across in front of the ball. He wasn't running to it.
Je vois-
He's running a
je
block
vois
there
un
as well.
accident de rugby.
That
Ils
is a
convergent tous vers le ballon.
Very fair
Je ne
point.
vois pas de plaquage sans ballon manifeste qui motiverait d'annuler l'essai.
Saying
C'est
there's no
plus un accident
obvious
de jeu. Je suis d'accord.
tackle without the ball. So it looks like the try stands.
Oui, mais pour moi, les joueurs convergent au ballon. Je ne vois pas de claire volonté d'aller à la faute. C'est très
Yeah, he's
accidentel.
just saying players
Pour moi, il y a
all
pas
arriving at the
d'incidence
same
sur
time.
l'essai.
No
Pour moi, il y a pas d'incidence
obvious
sur l'essai.
fault. So the try will stand. Maybe this just blows a little bit of a wind into Racing's sails. They need it. They need Tedder to stick over the points, to tighten the gap. Oh, he's hooked it. Oh dear.
Well, they can still draw Racing, and it's a lot easier now looking for 2 converted tries in 13 minutes rather than 3 converted tries in 14. The maths is a lot better, however, they could have done. He did enough to set up the try, of course, Tedder. That's where he shrugged off the tackles, finds his support. Lucky that ball was brought in. And there it is. That's perfect for a youngster. You're in space, you've got pace outside you, use it and try and get up and support. No heroics there. Find your pace, and it was Max Spring who went over.
And we should give a little bit of a shout out there to Guram Gogichashvili as well, the Georgian prop who played linkman there, because that was good work from a loose head forward, a loose head prop.
Suddenly, like you said, Barney, a little bit of wind in the sails, spring in the step, whatever you want to call it, a little bit of excitement and feeling they're back into the game.
On avance. Siffle un peu tôt. Non, mais je m'excuse.
Yeah, we've got 12 minutes
Je pensais qu'il y
remaining.
avait un avant là-bas, donc c'est pour ça que j'ai arrêté. Je m'en excuse, il y a juste un avant ici.
Bordeaux stacked that left side, the blind side of the field, with a couple of defenders.
Je vous
I think the temptation here would be to attack the other way from Racing. And maybe, you know, Luku's a very good player. He's not a regular 10, and the defensive position at 10, certain nuances in every position, of course, in the defensive line. It's a decision-making position because you've normally got multiple runners, and maybe they can look to exploit that area of the defensive line. He's got Moifana pretty close to him.
Scrummage taking a little time to settle. I think we do have all the replacements on now, most of which were in the scrummage. A little bit of time being chewed up. Tristan Tedder is one of those interesting players because he's not particularly eye-catching. He's never been mentioned in terms of international terms, but he does seem to do a job. He surprises us. He's been very good with the boot. Gilbert feeds, nicely collected by Fiku. Where's he got? He's held up and taken into touch. That's good defence from Moefana. Bielbiari. Penno on the touchlines look poised to return, isn't he?
It was a good first up hit from Moefana. Even though he didn't finish the tackle off, he stopped the momentum in its tracks from Fiku, and the end result was getting shoved across the line. But Fiku didn't probably get that clean a pass, which didn't enable him really. He had to create something. He felt he had to create it.
Bordeaux with the good take, rumbling forward once again. Paul Abadi wearing the number 20. Forwards just taking the ball in. Sapping, frustrating. Jean-André Marais gives away the penalty.
18 est premier. Et non, vous n'arrivez pas à le sortir, vous n'êtes pas efficace.
This does look as though Penno is he coming back on? He is. He's had his breather.
Well, I'm not sure of the rules, how they've developed these days, but coming back on, I'm not sure under what provision he's allowed to.
My understanding is that the top 14 has rolling substitutions.
I learn something every game. I mean, I think it's an inevitability, or eventually in rugby. I'm not so sure it's the greatest thing. I think fatigue plays an important role in rugby. You know, defenders dropping off and leaving opportunities to attack. So
it creates more space towards the end of the game, and we could go on for a long time on
the
this.
The argument will be, is it in players' best interests of their safety, etc. So
all these are issues. Racing habit though. Gibert. Oh, it's Tuisova piling in once again. Fiku feeds back. Oh, it's gone forward from Wade. Now Bielbiari and Tambwe. Tambwe still going. Taken down by Hambosi.
Montage en avant.
Still in the 22, but Bordeaux do have the advantage.
Là, ça les met. Avantage terminé sur l'en avant.
Now the advantage is over. Abadi clears. Doesn't make touch. Christian Wade on his way to Gloucester at the end of the season. He's had a good time in Racing since coming from Wasps. The ball goes adrift once again. Tedder taken down. And Racing putting themselves under pressure. They do get the ball back.
You have to walk, you have to walk. No.
Well, they're hanging on to it at the moment. Spring feeds. Gibert looking for support. Tedder has it. Where's he going? Well, that looked a bit forward as well. Christian Wade has it. Ducks behind one of his teammates. Looks for a way through. Bounces off a couple of defenders. Well, he's looked lively, the Englishman, since he came on. Tuisova with the long feed. Bielbiari almost got there. Nice feed from Khaleesi. Did well there. Now is there a little bit more impetus? Again, Bielbiari getting himself around. Gibert. Desperation time almost as Fiku straightens up. He's hit with 2 tackles, one of them from Penno. The crowd raising their voices, getting behind their team. They're 7 minutes away from a place in the semi-finals in this year's Top 14. They lead by 14 points. You imagine this is theirs now to lose. Tuisova is held up. The ball turned over, but the penalty going the other way.
I think the ruling there is that the ball hadn't emerged past the last man's feet after the ruck had been formed, and probably a fair one as well. It's interesting with Racing that again they're trying desperately to get the ball out wide. Sometimes they're doing too much in terms of the front runner that they're trying to pass the ball behind. And this was a nicely threaded ball and a great ball from Polisi on out to Waki as Fiku goes flying into tackles. But sometimes they've already committed the defenders, maybe just through the hands as they find space rather than going through a pre-planned move, throwing it behind the player, way out the back, and giving much more recovery time to the defence, who then have time just to drift off and get out and cover. So the intent has been good, the execution not so much, as Khaleesi trudges off as well.
Good take from Woki, but was it straight? No, says the ref. Boris Palu not overly impressed with the decision, or perhaps with the throw.
He's been working pretty hard, Boris Palu, since he got on. He's been getting some fairly unsympathetic passes from all and sundry too, and yours do something with it.
And Penlami Narisia looked a little penitent as he walked away there.
Here's Pyro back on, is he? Looks like he's had enough of a rest.
Yeah, I think it's a system that perhaps needs looking at, but there we go.
Maybe just getting excited about what he hopes is coming in 4.5 minutes.
Yes, time ticking away. It's hard to see Racing scoring 2 tries in the next 4 minutes. Unless they can pinch this against the head. They can't. It's stuck with Tatafu. Abadi is at the back waiting for it. Gendre Marais. Over the top and into touch. Well played. Nothing Christian Wade could do about that. The applause from Yannick Brew, who very shortly will be able to start planning a semi-final against Stade Francais at this same Stade Jacques Chaban-Delmas. Stuart Lancaster in the middle there, looking a little glum. He's got some big guns arriving next season, not least Owen Farrell, Roman Taufi-Fanua. Demba Bamba is also coming, perhaps not as high-powered as Owen Farrell. But Racing looking at defeat now. Woki does well. Can they have one last bite? Wade feeds back. Injecting some pace in. There you go, Andrew. Poirot back on the field. Gael Fickou once again running into the tackle. Sideways boot. It's not happening. It is not happening. Vinay Hambosi just not able to cling on there. And I think Bordeaux Begles reckon it's done and dusted now.
Yeah, Racing, I guess, couldn't have expected a lot more, to be honest. They didn't come into this game with a lot of momentum. They didn't come into this game with great form. While last week was a step up for them, when they've tried to play an attacking game, a bit of a wider game, they just don't have the habit of playing that over the last few months. And they've tried, I guess, without the finesse that comes from playing it week in, week out, if they'd been doing it from the start.
Yes, their last trip here in March, at the beginning of March, didn't end well. They were beaten 21-5 in the regular season. And it looks as though it's going to be another disappointment as Gael Fickou tries to get something moving. I think Racing are going to look back at this and know they had the chances. They have got a penalty, but they did have chances in the first half. They didn't take the opportunities that came their way. and as you said, didn't really push Bordeaux wide, and that kind of sums up their evening. Stuart Lancaster packing his bags. He's ready for the bus. A long summer holiday now for them. They've got a couple of extra weeks.
And a bit to think about too. You know, they look good, I guess, through the part of the season that was disrupted initially by, you know, some of the big guns being away from other teams. They had some good momentum on. Once they got through Christmas and into the new year, it just really seemed that they played a bit of a limited game. Partly that was through personnel perhaps, but they certainly didn't create a lot of dynamism. They didn't create speed at the ruck. They didn't really put pressure on the opposition. They haven't shown a tendency to be able to consistently put pressure on the opposition defensive line, and there have been a couple of glimpses tonight. They got some quick ball a couple of times, but inevitably they weren't used to it and weren't able to capitalise on it. And the Bordeaux defence has been very good. I think Racing's made the Bordeaux defence look better than what it is, but it has been good.
Well, I'm going to be a little bit churlish here. The midfield, perhaps of Ficou and Chavancy, has blocked things a little bit. We saw Ficou making a few solo runs, but they haven't really brought the wings in as much as they might have done, at least early on in the first half. There it is. There is the hooter. Bordeaux Begles are going to be in the semi-finals of the top 14. They finished third in the regular season. It's where we would expect them to be. They've been very strong, very consistent throughout the year. They've had a very good home record. I think they lost a couple at home, but they've been very strong. And tonight, they have certainly been the better side over the 80 minutes. Thoroughly deserved. 3 tries to 1. This will be the last play of the game. Maxime Loukou has had a terrific game. No Mathieu Jalibert. Whether that will be exposed next week in the semi-finals against Stade Francais, we will see. You will be able to watch all those matches. Of course, the semi-finals played on consecutive days, next Friday, next Saturday, down in Bordeaux, and the final in Marseille. Nice change. Paris, of course, out of bounds because of some event that's happening at the end of July. You'll read all about it in the morning press. There is a penalty for Racing, so the game continues for at least one more play. Andrew, Bordeaux against Stade Francais. Give me a quick indication.
Well, I think this has been good preparation for them tonight, Barney, for Bordeaux, because I don't think they'll just try and go and move the ball around against Stade Francais, which is one of the best defences in the competition. So this has been good preparation to play a game of territory, play a really clean, correct game, not try to chance their arm too much, although that they know they can take advantage of opportunities. I think they'll play almost like a game that South Africa, the Springboks, have done so well in the last 2 World Cups. Just be very clean and correct, and when there's an opportunity, be ruthless in taking it.
And would you expect them to beat Stade Francais? I'll let you think about that one.
Good shout.
Well, this is going to be it. Out it goes. Damien Penaud clobbers the ball out into touch. That is that. What a win. Bordeaux Begles can celebrate now. Yannick Brou on the touchlines. The players exchanging hugs with the opposition. They've earned this tonight. That is an extremely good win for Bordeaux Begles. They've beaten Racing by 31 points to 17. Into the semi-finals they go, where they will face Stade Francais a week today at this same ground. It'll be a home game for them at the Stade Jacques Chaban-Delmas. Disappointment for Racing, but I think they will know that they were second best tonight. Terrific support for Bordeaux as well. I mean, that's got to be helpful.
Yes, it will be. And yeah, I don't think Racing could have expected the win tonight, not with the form they brought in. One Imhoff obviously pretty upset. They can't have expected that tonight, and they've been reasonably comfortably outplayed tonight and not played so much in terms of the attack, but Bordeaux had plenty in reserve. I think they played a simple game, a game of territory, a smart game. And Bordeaux, you know, playing next week against Stade Francais, to whom they lost only 22-18 a few weeks back at Stade Francais' home ground, Stade Jean Bouin. They've got home advantage next week. And so, you know, you wouldn't put it past them to lift again from tonight with men like Deporter, who we didn't see a lot of tonight. He made a great tackle, great covering tackle around the bootlaces, didn't get many opportunities with the ball in hand, but they're quite willing from tonight's performance, as we've seen, to bide their time, to just play smart rugby, simple rugby, and when the opportunities come, we know they've got the firepower to take them.
You used the word smart during that little monologue there, which I think kind of sums them up. It was really intelligently game managed. Luku was at the centre of it, in a sense. The way he was, there he is, number 9. The way he was running the game, even when he dropped to 10, it was an impressive performance from Maxime Luku. Obviously, I'm going to say it again, without Mathieu Jalibert, which is a big loss. So whether they can carry that loss all the way through to the semi-final and to the final and win the Brennus Shield, we will see. Henri Chavancy, disappointment for him.
La déception,
disappointment,
la tristesse.
Sadness.
On était venu ici avec beaucoup d'intention.
We came here with lots of intent.
On était passé par la petite porte la semaine dernière et on savait qu'on avait tout à gagner ici. On savait que ce serait très compliqué, mais si on jouait notre meilleur rugby, on avait toutes nos chances. Je crois qu'on a montré par séquence qu'on aurait pu les mettre plus en difficulté. Malheureusement, on a été trop indiscipliné.
Unfortunately, we were too indisciplined in the first half.
On a laissé Bordeaux faire la course en tête pendant toute la
partie. And we let Bordeaux
on est déçus, on est tristes.
Lead the race in a sense. Difficult to play catch up. Henri Chavancy, 36 years old. He's got another year at least. He signed a contract, so we'll be back in next year. But disappointing way for him to close out this season. Will we get someone from Bordeaux? At the moment, they're all celebrating. Not celebrating too early, I hope, though, because it does only qualify them for the semi-finals. They've still got a lot of work to do.
Yes, I think they'll be really happy that they didn't give too much away, and they probably feel they've got a little bit more in the tank. They played as much as they needed to tonight. They got ahead. The Tumway try was pretty important for them in the context of the match, just to get their noses in front, particularly playing against the wind. And they knew once they got that second try right on half-time that Racing was going to have to chase the game, and they hadn't threatened the defence to be able to be confident of scoring enough points to do that, and Bordeaux just played down the Racing end, said to Racing, you play your way out of trouble, which ultimately they couldn't do.
Yes, first half was 21-12. The second half, it was 10-5 to Bordeaux, so they controlled it. There was never really much chance of Racing coming back into it. Final score here in Bordeaux, home side have won by 31 points to 17. Bordeaux will go into the semi-finals to face Stade Francais in a week's time.
Il a le sourire, Maxime, oui, il a le sourire, bravo, félicitations, vous êtes en demi-finale du top 14. C'était une belle soirée, vous l'avez pris par le bon bout cette rencontre. Racontez-nous un petit peu comment vous sur le terrain vous avez